Innervibe show on S-Ence Radio. This is Yes Alexander. That's all.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening on a beautiful Sunday afternoon on Sunday the 2nd of June 2013. Sorry we're a bit late this evening. The technical guy made some cock-ups. No, I'm joking. Big up to the technical guy anyway. We have Shareefa Human on the show this evening. We're talking about Islamophobia and also the persecution of the colonised communities. So I bet you're wondering what all that means. Well, Shareefa will be joining us shortly. We're going to play another tune and come back. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening. And yes, welcome to the Innervibe show on S-Ence Radio. I'm going to play some band sing. Okay, a bit different. It's called Into the Fire.
ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾੜਨਾ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਦੀ ਸੰਨੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਭਾਵਾਂ ਜਾੜਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਲੋਕ ਵੇ ਅੱਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿੰਦੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣਾ ਚੋਕ ਵੇ
Check the fire when me relevant sing ring. Fire I go burn them colonial thinking. Roots must be a cop, now have no inkling. Sell out life without the brink of extinction. Like Titanic, Babylon ship sinking. Big leaders, them are big in a pimping. Start a company, big in a pimping. Man like Shadat Bavan, them are the kingpin. Money I go make, just at the ching-ching. Plus in New Delhi, them in love with the bling ting. Check the condition of my people living in drink. Dirty water and food keep shrinking. Plus some relatives serious lynching. Fantastic chapters, streets and linking. Better lose better than in a win, but them a raise this hit thing. We think like Clinton. Just cool down. Cool down. Just cool down. Spend your money, I reimburse them first. Wonder how them I go reimburse the earth. Reimburse kids head first, dead in the earth. AK-47 shoot lead up in verse. Plus stain dark red on them shirts. Hunger bad but thirst is worse. Them dirty imperialists curse them birds. Can them mash up the earth, can them mash up the earth. Youth man I be observe and search. We have to find what life really worth. Youth man I be observe and search. Can we defend the turf, can we defend the turf. Fire, 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 fire. Cool down, cool down, just cool down, cool down, just cool down, cool down, just cool down. साथी पैसे जड़े ना रहे लोग में आगे भी जिंदड़ी नूं देना सोना वे.
And that was Conrad Bant Singh, Delhi Sultanate and Chris McGuinness, Into the Fire. What a wicked tune here. Wow. Yes, we have Shareefa with us on the show. Shareefa does patriarchal workshops, is that right, Shareefa?
Yeah, I've started to, I've just finished university. I was studying international relations in London, so I've just completed that.
Awesome.
But I've been involved in like youth and community work since I was about 17. I'm 23 now. And yeah, so basically I'm just trying to reach out, work on different projects in the community.
Awesome.
So like be grassroots orientated as well as like working on like political community activism as well.
Yeah, because that's what you are, you're a community activist, aren't you?
Yeah, that's correct.
Indeed. And you said that you did some exhibitions here on Islamophobia
about
a while back?
over 4 years ago in Leicester.
Okay.
Because I was working for like a youth organisation as well, and all these other things, but mainly because I grew up in Leicester and I saw. I went to school in a predominantly white area, and we faced a lot of Islamophobia and overall like understanding the extent of Islamophobia, especially after different events that were propagated by the media, like 9/11, 7/7, all these things, and even the recent case was just happened in Woolwich, and like the media spin on it and all the propaganda, and then this reactionary movements that have work now created from these sort of things. So like you've got the EDL, the English Defence League, and they're a straight up reactionary movement to the miseducation of what the media propagates in order to create these reactionary movements. And then on top, it's like a lot of things have occurred since that case, which has harmed and the Muslim community in England, and not just in England but in a lot of different places. But I'm saying, is how is the Muslim community going to deal with it? How are the Muslim community and other communities as well not going to feed into the propaganda and not be not feel as though they need to be apologetic or like to apologise for something that's not representative of their community, and for people to now feel fearful of what's happened, and considering what has occurred recently, like the Muslim community themselves, they're feeling terrorised by the state. People are afraid to come and speak about these things now because the state are gonna come down on people, especially for me, I don't wear a hijab. I'm not a brother with a beard, all these kind of things, and on top, I don't look like the stereotypical practicing Muslim, and I'm a young person myself. I'm from the Asian community, and understanding my own struggle as a Muslim person, but also as a woman, but really, in fact, we're the ethnic majority, and to understand it in coming from a place where, as an Asian person, my struggle is a colonial struggle, so I can't, like most people from different communities from the global south, like Nikantalaka people, from indigenous people from Tawantinsuyu, which is like the name for like the natives, like South American people, and then again like for the African community, the Asian community, and the Arab community. There's been so many misunderstandings, or people, especially I'm a second generation migrant, and a lot of us have been made to feel quite a few different ways about the way that we are and our identity, and a lot of people have grew up to feel resentful towards their parents, having a parent that's a migrant, and is a parent with an accent or something, or a parent who might still practice their culture and who haven't gave into cultural imperialism, which a lot of people have. So it's all of these things, and coming to understand it, and really being like, for me, it's about being taught the truth and not having the truth hidden away from us, and having our history and what's going on now not hidden from us, which is easily done. And in terms of the struggle for the Muslim community, it's very hard, like especially in England. I've been through it myself. Like I'm going through the decolonizing process, and it was really hard trying to understand where you fit into society, and like people try to stick this label, like the so-called British Muslim, and that's really problematic. And considering, I wasn't aware of my history. I wasn't aware the British, they were the ones responsible for the famines in India. Did they teach us that at school? They didn't teach us any of these things in school. They were involved. That the famines were, millions of Indian people. They were, growing rice on their own land, and then made to export the rice to Europe and then starve them. What kind of human beings does that? And it's supposed to be the so-called democracy that did all these things. And like people need to understand their own struggle. And for me, it's about truth. And everyone has that right to it. I don't just want to know. I don't just want to see things of, oh look, Indian people fought for the British during the World War, but I don't just want to see it like this and glamorize it in such a way. Like, yes, people did fight during, it was a right thing to do. Like in terms of when Britain was going to be occupied by Germany, you know what I mean? Like, it's the right thing. If someone's going to occupy, like if someone was going to come into your house and say, look, I'm going to take over your house, I'm going to terrorize your kids and your family and your friends and your community, it's correct for other people to stand saying, no, that's unjust, and they're going to stand there next to you and say, stand with you because they're standing against oppression.
That's right.
In the same way, in Ireland, and like the occupation with the IRA and stuff. In the occupation, the IRA were resisting an occupation, and and it's the same thing with all these things that are going on, but everyone is so complicit in what is happening, and we're not made, because we're so far away, we're miles away from these lands that Britain is currently occupying, and we're made to forget these things. You only see certain things, or people only talk about it when drama happens, when things come to Britain, but I'm like, why are people forgetting these things? Why are we made to forget? And it's not even about people in Iraq or Afghanistan being Muslim. That's a pathetic way to think about it. And at the end of the day, it's an illegal occupation. It's an imperialist occupation, and we can't just deny it because they're not my people. We're made to feel dehumanized people, or people might ask the question, how can you how do Muslims identify with these people as brothers and sisters, and they're not even on the same land, and they won't respect the people that live around them? But that's not what it's about. Like, that's a pathetic way to conclude it, because it's not about that. It's in the end of the day. Why should we be made to feel to dehumanize someone who's got a different accent, who's brown, and all these other things?
Who's basically the same as us.
Who's the same? If my parents hadn't migrated or weren't made to, or all the rest of it, I would have an accent and I would be wearing different So what does that mean? What does that make me superior than anyone else, or does it make it superior for an Afghan living in England? And should people not be made to feel the struggle of other people? Like, I'm not the one who has to be worried when I go to the corner shop about something going on. I'm not the one who has to worry when I'm invited to a wedding to think, these occupiers, Britain or the US, might just bomb this building, that we're having a wedding in, because that's what they do. They congregate and they drop drones and all the rest of it on places where people congregate, so they can reach out and hit loads of people at the same time. And it was a genocide, and we can't ignore that. And it's about standing up to our own government to say, look, we're not cool with what you're doing, and then the day you're involved, you're an unjust occupier. And if people don't understand their own history, like Marcus Garvey said about you have to know your roots and your history. Otherwise, like people without what did he say again? Like people
without any roots has no future.
And like they don't know themselves. Basically, I can't. So if you want to know about it, just research about it. But he said
we're in the age of information, and all the information is out there.
Like the knowledge is there, but it's about who's looking for it, who's tuning in for the knowledge,
who has the desire to do so.
And on top, the way I see it, like, a lot of communities are in a stage of, they're allergic to truth or anything that's puts them. Everyone gets all sensitive about it, but it's not about being so sensitive about the truth.
But it's a fear, isn't it? It's a fear of. It's even a fear of them really becoming closer to God, because in all honesty, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Sikh, or whatever religion, people have lost that ultimate connection because of the material world, and because the media and the education system has invoked a certain spirit in them, and this is the spirit of materialism, the spirit of consumerism, the spirit of watching all the garbage on the TV. This is what people are.
That indoctrinating propaganda machine. That everyone's, kids watching it all day, or like kids playing on their PlayStation and shooting people all day, and these kind of things, and
it's desensitized.
You're desensitized. You are. People are desensitized by what they see and what they're made to feel, or the music that they listen to, and it's like, promoting something that's oppressive towards themselves, and that's the thing. That is what we're trying to challenge, and also in terms of communities themselves, and challenging their own indoctrination and challenging the colonization of their minds, because that is the thing that we're facing. Like, even considering what happened in Woolwich, like, no one's supporting that, but what people are trying to say, like, a lot of people have turned around to say, why is a mosque now in Birmingham why is a mosque now raising money for British troops in Afghanistan? That doesn't make no sense. They're an illegal occupier. If this country was occupied and the mosque started supporting the troops, fair play, I can understand that. You stand with the oppressed at the time, but they're not the oppressed in this. That's what we have to understand. And then there's a picture that I saw today, and it had British troops standing with a British flag behind them, and they were doing the Nazi salute. And it was really confusing because it just thought these people are so uneducated, and the people who are used as pawns by the elite, they're the very uneducated people. And how can an Englishman do a Nazi salute? What happened in World War II? How can you be, you know, it's like anything controversial, people will support that, or they think it's cool, or look at me, I'm a big man, and look at what I dare to do. And at the same time, people aren't, you know, people are like, oh no, don't talk about this is radicalisation. Like, seriously? Does it mean being radicalised by knowing the truth? I'm sorry, I want to know the truth.
There's a lot of fear, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear in people, unfortunately, as we said earlier. And that's
the truth. Yeah, exactly.
The education system again, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's a colonial system which has also been used in the former colonised countries, which are still colonised through neo-colonialism and corporations. And you can go to these countries now and ask the people on the ground. Or even just speak to them. You don't even need to go to these countries because people are doing fine without us interfering in their struggle. You know, we come on without, you know, the colonizers' accent, parading ourselves around, saying, "Oh, what can I do to help you?" Like, no, seriously, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, but people will say, well, we went into Iraq to get Saddam Hussein out because he was killing his people. That's what people say. That's the first reaction you get from people. So what would you say to somebody like that?
But at the end of the day, people have to understand imperialism. That's the thing, and you have to understand when an occupier will invade for oil. If they don't have anything, they will not be interested. They will not go there.
Well, the fact of the matter is, right, people, for some reason, they can't get that, they can't understand that. So they will keep asking that question about Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, but
completely disregarded.
It was a week because people. What are the Iraqis saying now? The Iraqis are crying, saying, you know, we were better off with Saddam. You are you're terrorizing us. You Western forces are terrorizing us. You know, what are people supposed to feel more liberated, like, by losing people in their family? That's serious. I don't know what it feels like for that to happen. So I'm not going to go into judge a situation I don't understand. I've never lived under occupation. I've been to Palestine. I've witnessed an occupation. It will hurt you to see it, but that's not mine. I come back to my house. I come back to a comfortable place where there's no checkpoint I need to pass or walk around. You know, there's no soldiers on my doorstep. But I've lived in London for the past few years, and you can see the extent of what this state is about. You know, the Metropolitan Police. It was just on Monday when the EDL were marching in London, and you know, one of my friends got arrested who's an anti-fascist, which is pathetic. Considering how can this state be arresting people who are for good, and opposing?
It's oxymoronic.
It's pathetic. And then on top, you know, another sister, Somali sister in hijab, the police punched her, and then my other friend went to intervene, and they attacked her. And you know, we couldn't even see what was going on with her, but she'd been like pushed to the floor and whatever, you know, and she had bruises and all the rest of it, and she was really disheartened by all of this. But you can understand, like, when you see it. Before I wouldn't, like, I'd hear about it, I might listen, and you know, I won't feel it, but you know, the whole Jamaican proverb of like, those who feel it know. And that's the thing, and it's about not becoming complicit about it, or like, oh yeah, that's bad, but you know, what can we do? But it's about collectivity and collective spirit.
And then go back and watch the garbage on the TV and go to the pub and continue with the
but also at the same time, we can't just pretend to be supportive, or just pretend to put on like a you know, oh look at me with my Palestine flag. I'm supportive of Palestinians facing racism in Palestine, you know, by the occupiers, Israel, but then to turn around and say, I'm not going to do anything about this EDL, I'm not still coming out for the, oh no, you know what, let's all stay indoors, and oh, that's not the way, let's stay away from town, and isn't that a terrorising of a community that feels scared to go into town because someone might get attacked? There's been over 200 attacks since the Woolwich case in a week. 200 Islamophobic attacks, people were stabbed, people have been killed, do you know what I mean? But where's the media hysteric?
Let's go a bit
where's
further
the hysteric of this? And also, a mosque was firebombed. Is that not terrorism of the EDL? How can we deny that? And also, before the Woolwich case, there was a 82-year-old, you know, they said he was 75, but again, he came on crime, which is an 82-year-old Muslim, Pakistani Asian man who was killed with a machete. You know, in Small Heath, like in Birmingham. And what about that? How's his family supposed to feel about that? That again was a terrorist. You know, that is terrorism.
Well, I only found out about that after the Woolwich.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying. How can people are so? How can people's anger is only for one thing?
Yeah.
I can understand if people are consistent with their anger. I've not got nothing to say about it. Or people are only mourning one man.
Yeah.
And not anyone else.
So the life of an elderly Pakistani guy means nothing, basically.
But that man looks like most Asian people's fathers. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So how are people supposed to feel? Or people getting scared to tell their mothers to wear hijab, saying, "Oh, mum, don't go out, don't drive around here because someone might try to attack you." And that's not a joke. That's not a joke. That my community is being terrorized right now. Don't come to our communities with this pathetic preventing violent extremism agenda and money, telling our communities to, look at stop radicalization of your community. I'm sorry, in that day, since this Woolwich case, has one Muslim man, has any Muslim kid been inspired, but to have they done anything since this thing? Over 200 attacks have come from the English community. So don't come to my community and tell my community that they're being radicalized and they should be telling people not to, or putting all this fear into them, or fear that young people don't even want to know what's going on because they're scared about it.
I didn't know about the figures that there were
over 200
attacks. Okay. Anybody seriously injured?
It was a lot of women that were attacked. So again, it shows they're cowards.
Right. Okay.
They're cowards to be attacking the sisters.
Right.
It was the same thing. It was a cowardly attack to attack an 82-year-old man with a walking stick.
Yeah.
And what about? Are they not going to give funding to them? Are they not going to give funding to the English community to say challenge your, what about all this? But no, they're supporting. They're letting them demonstrate and all these things. And on last Monday, I wasn't there at the demo yesterday, the BNP one, but I do know. Like on Monday, they had glass bottles. They were all drunk by 2 o'clock. They had glass bottles. They were chucking it at people. People getting hurt. And then one of them punched one of my friends as well. And what about that? And spitting in people's faces. Was any of our side doing? Our side was not doing that. Our side were trying to resist against what the EDL are doing, embedding fear into our communities, and also what the policing is rubbish. The police are after us for speaking out against that.
Well, they're being paid by the corporate bodies to protect corporate interests, aren't they? Is that democratic? No, of course not.
Is a liberal democracy is an illusion of democracy.
Exactly.
If we lived in a participative democracy like what a place like Venezuela, Cuba, and what they have, like Hugo Chavez was a man of the people, and he was involved. You'd see him everywhere. He'd be involved in the community, and he was interested. He even had like a radio show, and every time people would be able to call in. People that have land or if they've got land problems, he'd call in and he would speak to them, and then he will go to, sort out the to support them with land issues. He was a community leader. That is what a leader is. Not these people. Where was David Cameron when this happened? Where did he go? He went to Spain or somewhere. And again, when the riots happened, Boris Johnson ran away somewhere as well. What does that say? They're there to test. At the moment, I just think all these things are going on. They're trying to test how awake people are.
That's right.
And I don't agree with my community having to feel fearful to come into town. The mosques having to say, stay away from town.
Because you said, because it was obviously the EDL march yesterday, wasn't it? And I've been on previous ones, obviously not with the EDL, but I didn't go to yesterday. Because I was so scared of it.
No, I hear that.
I told you in the week, I'm just getting a bit tired of all this.
Being a reactionary to what they're doing.
Exactly.
But at the same time, for me, it's more about legal observation and just ensuring that none of our community gets arrested.
Because you made a point after the march yesterday that there were only 3 dark faces. Who were
non-white. So what does that say? What does that say? And then on top
it says
of
a lot, doesn't it?
And then there were people there from the UAF, the SWP, but again, it was the way I felt. I spoke to one woman, and I don't know who she is. I've never seen her in my life, but she was part of the organising of that. And the way she was, when I asked her, there was an older EDL man, and he was staring at me, giving me this really horrible, disgusting, Islamophobic, racist looks. And I thought, okay, how do I handle this? Do I confront him, or shall I ask for the megaphone to do it in a productive way? Of look, we're not tolerating fascists, we're not tolerating racism. And the woman refused to give the megaphone. Oh no, we're doing it peacefully and all these things. But I thought, you're not the one who's going to get Paki bashing. You're not the one who's going to get Islamophobic stuff. You're not the one who has to worry about your family and stuff or your community. You know, or what your community is feeling right now. You're not the one that needs to do that. I agree. I respect the solidarity factor, but people shouldn't be telling people how to lead their struggle. The same time when the riots happened after Mark Dogan got killed in 2011, in August, the African community in Tottenham, everyone stood up and said, no, we're not letting you kill another man from within our community. And people started to riot. And it was uprising against, how many more times? It's been 1,433 people killed in police custody, majority black men. In this state, that's one man every week. And people are fed up. Same thing with Smiley Culture, Ricky Bishop, Christopher Older, which I'll talk about in a minute. But Sean Rigg, all these people that have been killed and still no justice has been served. And obviously people are going to be very frustrated. But it's not for another community to then say, oh, this is how you should do it. It's to support how the community wants to do it. So again, if anyone wants to support a campaign to support the families, it's not about saying, oh, this is how we should do it. No, let's let the family speak and you're supporting them that.
Exactly.
And again, that's the thing. And Janet Older, Christopher Older's sister, she said, after all this thing happened with the Woolwich case and everyone, showing this outrage, a British English man has been killed, but where were all these communities in 1998 when Christopher Older got killed, who was, he was in the military, but he was an African man and he was part of the British Army and he fought in the Falklands. So and he was killed by the police in police custody. And he was called a monkey and he was made all these noises at him and all this disrespectful stuff. And where was people's outrage about that? But it shows, you have to be from a certain community, you have to have white privilege for anyone to feel sensitive towards your death or your...
And you have to be some sort of hero, so to speak.
Because again, it's the whole thing that's been played on this whole Lee Rigby case, is the fact before they were identifying him as a soldier, and then they slowly, the propaganda moved it on to describe him as a drummer. And it's like, but wait a minute, this footage of him killing people in Iraq or Afghanistan, I can't remember exactly, but one of the countries this country is currently occupying. So it's kind of how, we're just asking for consistency in the state and the way the state's going to deal with things. Because even with the case of the brother in Birmingham, the elderly man who was murdered, and even with him, it was covered on Crime Watch, but the family was not happy with the way it was covered, and they were very angry about it. They missed out a bit about how he was. There was a woman who helped. She was there when he was in a pool of blood, and he passed away on her lap. That kind of a thing, and all these other things that they missed out. So even then, it's a misaccurate kind of information, and the family are having to say, I think it was related to racism. No, it is a clear racist assault. What kind of normal person is going to attack an 82-year-old man? What human being does that? But how come no one is going? But how come whole communities are being targeted or demonized or scapegoated because of that? But when it comes to our communities, it's always, oh my God, look at them, thugs, feral rats, this, all these pathetic connotations that are attached to our communities, and it's disgusting that people are scared right now.
They are.
They say, even when I might say something and my friends will be like, people that I went to school with or something like, oh, you're brave to say what you say. I'm scared I'll get killed because of that. And also, it's the same.
That's what it is, isn't it?
That people is the thing. But what do you expect before what happened in Woolwich and all these incidents? You have to look at what's happening in America. And again, Malcolm Shabazz, late Malcolm Shabazz now, and he was killed by the state. And he was the first male heir of Malcolm X. And if everyone knows how powerful Malcolm X was, and now he's such an icon, a revolutionary icon for a lot of communities, for colonized people, he made a sense of a lot of things. And even for the Muslim community, he's a respectable figure. And in the African community, and his grandson was taken from him, and the way he was harassed his whole life by the state because of who he was and being the first man, and he was killed at 28, and then they tried to associate it back to, he had a bad past before and he was involved in criminality, so it was got to do with this. But really, And then on top, we have to look at what they did to Azata Shakur
Yeah.
from the Black Panther Party. And again, she's been, living in Cuba for all these years since the police shot her, and they've had all these false allegations against her, like her biography. I've read some of it. I was reading the PDF file, but I've ordered a copy because it's better to read. But it was Azata's biography, and she wrote all about it, and it's and now she's a 66-year-old woman. She's the same age as people's grandparents, and now the FBI placed our put on them most wanted terror list.
That's right.
And and raise the money from $1 million to $2 million on her head. How do you do that to someone? How do you do that to someone? What kind of person does someone? I don't understand. But when there was a man from in America who put bombs in his boot, and he drove to a mosque to carry out a terrorist attack. How come that wasn't regarded as terrorism? How come that never hit all the tabloids and the media everywhere? How come that wasn't going on and on and on every single day like it has been since Woolwich, and which happens every time anything happens, which is from the non-white community? How come we don't hear, like, people don't even know about things like that? Even like the Oklahoma bombings, all these things, like people is made to be put in a way that it's only certain communities are capable of this, and they're uncivilized, and we're the civilized. But also, one thing that I have noticed within the Muslim community as well, it's my own community, so I'm not trying to be critical. I'm not coming from Islamophobic sort of viewpoint, but what I am saying, people always come from the narrative like, through the colonized mind, it's like, they're the uncivilized Muslims and we're the civilized Muslims.
Yes.
I work on whatever you have to say about my community is disgusting. They're paedophiles, they're this, and blah blah blah, all what they have to say, and it's like, wait a minute, you're coming from an Islamophobic viewpoint yourself because you're attacking people with beards. You're attacking what your religion says, and I'm not like the best practicing of Muslim, you can see, but I'm saying I do understand that, and even people that aren't Muslim can see what's going on. They can see what's going on, but it's sad. It's really sad when you have people from our own community that are infiltrators and stuff, that are running around to do the dirty work, but aren't challenging the fear that their own communities put in.
That's right.
Yeah.
We call them, and Malcolm X rightly called them house Negroes.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's true. It's true, but it's not for me. It's about how do we be more supportive of the people that are, like a lot of brothers have been taken away from this country, extradited, and sent to Guantanamo. And even recently, like the case of Mahdi Hashi, a 23-year-old Somali brother from North London in Camden, and he was a youth worker, and he was taken. He was when he went away, and then they cancelled his citizenship, and now they put him out. Like, they sent him to. They're saying they're gonna lock him up, and complete. And how can you do that to someone? How can you do that? And that's happened to 5 people. Like, there's an article in the Guardian, I think it is. If you just type how do like MI5 targeting British Muslims, and that's not me making things up, or that's not me supporting any kind of thing. I'm saying, how are these communities feeling right now? How are these communities feeling right now? And how come people aren't supportive of it? People just like, this is bad, but what about, like, there are good campaigns, Cage Prisoners Hugs, these people who do support the families of these people. People should know how this feels, even if when a brother is taken on like drug charges, a mother feels it when her son is taken away from him. But again, like, you have to look at the capitalist structure and how people are suffering, and through poverty and all these other things. There's poverty exists here, just because we're not sitting in the slums or mud huts. Poverty still exists here, the same way, exactly. And the same way with even when the riots happen, it comes back to the fact that these communities, how can they put laptops on billboards and stuff, and poverty can't afford it. But in the poorest of areas in London, and there were places, and kids are made to have this consumer culture all the time. We're like, oh, mom, dad, I want these trainers. Oh, if you can't get me these trainers, you're pathetic. You couldn't afford this. You couldn't give me a good life. Look at my friends' parents; they can get them everything, and you're a loser. But it's really like, what does that say? What does that say about how we're not made to even understand our own struggle? We're taught lies. It was only until I did like sociology GCSE. when I was about 16, and I was like, oh, capitalism, oh, so we're working class, oh, so now this is why this happens, and I now understand why, you know, in when I went to school, why people would treat you differently because you're from this area of the world, which is a working class ethnic minority area, and people will treat you differently, and it was the disrespect that the teachers gave. You know, my mum can even vouch, even though at primary school, you know, I went to a primary school that was very racist as well, and you know, my mum was a mentor there, and she left after a while because she saw the way the teachers were racist towards the kids, and they didn't understand them. They didn't understand them, and also, I watched this documentary, and it was you know, an African American brother, and he said, you know, he's like, are we stupid to send our kids to learn off a man who doesn't even, people who don't even respect them?
Us, yeah.
You know?
I think we are.
Yeah, but it goes to show, and then, you know, like, all these things, and then having, you know, seeing racism, and then, but young people have that thing in them, so it's like, if they see something, they're going to challenge it.
Yeah.
So if someone comes at you, if someone comes up to a child and says, oh, you're like this and you're rubbish and all these things, they're going to challenge it. If they feel like they're being victims of racism, they're going to challenge it, and the next thing, you know, they get sent to isolation or they get expelled or some rubbish that happens. And this happens all the time, and it's always which kids are facing this, you know, even from like our people from the white community, like the working class people. There were some people that I saw that happening to as well, but it was more so, you know, we can't pretend. It was always the people, like, even though I have white privilege through shadism in my own community, but I mean, they could still tell where you're from. You know, they can tell the way you dress or whatever, like the way that you speak and all these things, and you know, it'll come up to that kind of thing. But no, you're the naughty one. No, I'm not naughty. I saw racism and I'm not sitting for it. I will challenge you. Why are you treating me bad? Why is it always me you send out the classroom and not anyone else that's being rude or destructive or whatever you're trying to say?
Yeah.
You know, and but again, like, people that are working in terms of youth work or mentoring and all these things that are programs that are in place to supposedly support our community, it really needs to come from a place of understanding. Like, I remember in my leavers book, and my mentor, she wrote in it, and she was right. She wrote in it that this was the only time she was honest with me, and towards the end of the whole year. And she said to me, you know, she was a Muslim woman, and she said, you know, like, Shareefa, no one wanted to work with you. No one wanted to be your mentor because the teacher said you're out of order and nobody's prepared to work with you. But she's like, oh, no, but you're actually a really nice girl, and like, you know, we came to an understanding, and you know, you're gonna do well. Like, you're you know, like, really encouraging, and that was a start. That was a start, and again, the other thing for me, like performing arts and stuff, it's always been the only time when you feel free. And you know, I had an African woman who was my drama teacher, and she was brilliant. She was my favourite, and she was, you know, that was the only time I used to feel free from all of this drama, this real life drama, is pretending to be somebody else for that little while. And it was coming to a place where, you know, she understood, and she was the one who used to sit me aside and say, look, Shareefa, like, you know, when they say something to you, don't even, like, you don't have to always challenge them. I know what what angle they're coming at you from, and I know you're not in the wrong, you know. And I was really upset about it, and she was telling me, she goes, no, but you know what will happen, this end of year play that you've been looking forward to do at the Montfort Hall, which is like one of the biggest halls in performance places in Leicester, and I was really excited about it. And she said, you do know that they'll try to pull you out, they'll try to take that one thing away that you've been looking forward to, if you're thinking it, you know.
Did they try to label you with the ADHD?
Well, they get anger management and stuff, anger management. What anger management? Like, if you're, you know, anyone.
Because you're challenging the status quo.
Or you know that something's not right. You know, that there's something not right. Even one time, I remember, you know, I'm trying to go back to my own scenarios, because this is where we all come from an understanding of our own experiences. And you know, there was a time where in class, and you know, we had been a bit naughty, but it wasn't me that got sent to isolation that time. I always used to get sent to isolation, but one of my friends, who's, you know, from the African community, she was there. She wasn't even involved. She was just there. She was laughing or something, and they sent her to isolation instead. And they ripped up my warning card. But I was like in shock. Like, what? You know, that was me that did the bad thing. So why are you taking her? But again, because she's, you know, I've got more privilege than her, and then they said, oh no, it's fine, you stay here, we'll send her this time. But what was that supposed to mean? You know, that was clear racism. That was racism, and I was shocked by it. I didn't even know how to react, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my parents are gonna kill me. I'm going, they're gonna get a phone call again, you know. But I mean, that was a one-off time where we were in the wrong, and you know, I'm not gonna be pathetic to pretend I wasn't. But I mean, this is true about a lot of stuff. Maybe, you know, facing racism from these teachers and facing racism from a system.
That's it. It's institutionalized racism,
Yeah.
which is it's quite hidden and it's subtle, yet blatant at the same time. If we have a high level of awareness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people tend to lack a higher level of awareness today because of the indoctrination
It's
tactics.
true.
Okay.
And also,
What we're gonna do, we're gonna go to a break.
Yeah, that's
okay, we're gonna go to a music break, and then we're gonna come back, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to touch more on your exhibition, what you did.
okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Also, the Woolwich incident,
Okay.
and because the thing is with the Woolwich incident, he was Muslim, he was British, and he was black. And he just looked like the normal black guy from the local estates, and that is very significant. And I really want to touch on that after when we come back, because there's an actual agenda here which people need to be more aware of.
Yeah.
Why?
And again, it's from Nigeria.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why a particular person of that persona did what he did. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm not going to go into the fact that he was programmed and so forth, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's just go for it, eh?
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna have a break, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna play some Comrade Band Sing again. I like Comrade Band Sing. I think it's like
Yeah,
cool,
they're from the Indian community.
Okay,
They're from the
okay.
Dalit community in India.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where about in India?
From the East, like Chhattisgarh.
Okay,
and stuff,
okay.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're revolutionaries.
Yeah,
Just
they're
like
good.
yourself. Awesome. Okay, this one's called Comrades.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਹ ਫੜੀ ਰਾਣੇ ਕਮਰੇਡ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਤਕੜੀ ਥਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਖੜਾ ਸੀ ਮੋੜ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਹ ਫੜੀ ਰਾਣੇ ਕਮਰੇਡ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਤਕੜੀ ਥਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਖੜਾ ਸੀ ਮੋੜ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਡਿਊਟੀਆਂ ਰਾਤੀ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਗਲਾਸਾਂ ਲਾ ਰਾਤੀ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਗਲਾਸਾਂ ਲਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੂਰਮਾ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਪਿੰਡ ਸੀ ਸਮਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਗਰੀ ਉੱਤੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਹਾਕਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਮਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਤੁਮਾਂ ਬਾਤੀਆਂ ਅੱਤਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਸੈਕਟਰ ਹਲਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਜਿਗ ਲੋਕੀ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਹੂਗਾ ਜੱਗ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਥੀਓ
Load them up again. Load them up again. Load them up again. We just a sing song, gather in a me yard at night and drink rum. Wake up in the morning, hustle for income. No farmer man a turn hurry go bring come. Still me youths a pray for righteous kingdom. No tribal youths a turn hurry go bring come. No rude man a turn hurry go bring come. Come come. Well in the multitude we a lift the service shoot, seek the truth in a safari soon. How many soul all of them enslaved? How many country them down a invade? Them come and take them wanna blame the trash, them buy them wanna build Babylon, come them and use us like slaves. How many soul all of them enslaved? How many country them down a invade? Them come and take them wanna blame the trash, them buy them wanna build Babylon, come them and use us like slaves. Delhi, Punjab, Chapel, New York, Brooklyn, in your area. Making it and come rap dancing in your area. Words on a words on a power in your area.
वो बहुत बोलना है कि जैसे अगर हम किसी को नहीं बताएंगे तो आगे कैसे पता चलेगा किसी को। अगर आप आए हो जहाँ अगर आप यहाँ से कोई बात आगे नहीं पहुँचाओ तो आगे नहीं जाएगी।
Jamaica has one of the highest murder rates in the world, with one committed every 9 hours. And caught in the middle is the police.
5-0. Nobody move. What was that? Nobody move. Stop on the drug boy. Don't move.
The officer, don't kill him, officer.
Hey, girl, go in here.
Somebody now to defend the poor. Batman police, everybody are kicked down with door. That's our concern, you know. Government and police, civilian and police, taxi man and police, everyone and police a war. Who make it reach so far is a while now. I know spot a squaddy in a land a bar. Police have to run from police. What is this from police? Me no know about the thing bizarre. Right now the force needs CPR. It look like a wound they are gonna leave a scar. Officer, you can't throw gas in a fire, cause the people are go ball and go fit the tire. Then the church have to go kneel and go in a prayer. When the people are rebel and I said them a suffer. A criminal elements alone and love the law. So why are the majority I call you murderer? Me think we need to hurry up and solve the puzzle, yeah. Remember our duty is the first uphold the law. No matter how it rough, you have to think before you draw. When the people them know it, then the criminal applaud. So no kick off me door when you come in on me yard. Me know the thing rough, me know it tough, me know it hard. We know say them the youth, them no have no discipline, but police brutality is just a better sin. I really hope you're listening. Something wrong cause everybody ballin'. Fender and police, soldier and police, stage show and police, soundman and police a war. Who make you reach so far is a while now. I know spot a squaddy in a Lana bar. Police have to run from police. What is this from police? We don't know about the thing bizarre. Right now the force needs CPR. It look like a boom they a go. You went into the force, not so to protect and serve. Your mother never with it, so it mash up her nerve. But you say you're not gonna live because you have a concern about the youth, them way you bust it and some of them not learn. You rough up everybody, no respect you not earn. Extreme tolerance, of it that we all learn. The people from the gully side, the Gaza strip, the lanes and the tavern would have loved to see the day when every gun burn. Police get back a button and the poor pocket fat, and then you wouldn't have to worry about crimes. They shot at them a free the dollar sign. So make up on no mind, cause we're looking around and we see no few trying. And no kill for kill, help in a perilous time. And chill for chill, so find the will. And know this, and not just rhyme. Move the feel from your eye class. Some of the obviously blind artists and police. High grade and police, bad mood and police. Everyone and police a war. Who make it read so far is a while now. I know spot a squaddy in a Lana bar. Police have to run from police. What is this from police? Me no know about the thing bizarre. Right now the force needs CPR. It look like that wound they are gonna leave a scar. Officer, you can't throw gas in a fire, cause the people are go ball and go fit the tire. Then the church have to go kneel and go in a prayer. The people are rebel and I said them a suffer. A criminal elements alone I love the law. So why are the majority I call a murderer? Me think we need to hurry up and solve the puzzle, yeah. Remember our duty is the first uphold the law. No matter how it rough, you have to think before you draw. When the people them know it, you then the criminal applaud. So no kick off me door when you come in on me yard. Me know the thing rough, me know it tough, me know it's hard. We We know say them a youth and now no have no discipline, but police brutality is just a better sin. I hope you're listening, something wrong cause everybody balling. Hey, government and police, civilian and police, taxi man and police, everyone and police a war. Who make it reach so far is a while now. I know spot a squad in a Lana bar. Police have to run from police. What is this from police? We don't know about the thing bizarre. Right now the force needs CPR. It look like that one day I go leave us scar.
The Innervibe show on S-Ence Radio. This is Yas Alexander. That's all.
Hi and welcome back to the Innervibe show on S-Ence Radio. Yes, we have Shareefa with us, down from London, originally from Leicester, but she resides in London.
No, I'm from Leicester.
She resides in London at the moment, okay, but obviously originally from Leicester. Before the break we was talking about the Woolwich incident briefly. His friend,
Abu Nusayba.
yeah, he was arrested apparently, innit?
Yeah, after he spoke on Newsnight.
Right.
And they invited him to speak, and then he was arrested straight after by anti-terror officers, which was really kind of everyone just felt like, whoa,
That was a setup, yeah. It must have been a setup.
Yeah. And now he's been charged under Section 1 and 2, which is really disgusting.
Okay.
And supposedly supporting terrorism, which is really ironic considering his friend had actually said, I don't support what happened. So isn't that putting words in his mouth? Or trying to make an assumption, you know? How can they ask someone questions about someone who knew them from years ago? You know, you can't ask someone questions from outside of a circle anyway. But even more so, how can you frame a man like that and just try to make an example of him? Of like, if you say anything out of the ordinary, you know, but he didn't even say anything. If you can watch it on Newsnight, he didn't say anything.
Okay. Yet they arrested him.
Yeah, they took him. And how do you think his family feels now?
Because apparently he was, well, a lot of people connected to him were arrested.
Yeah.
Also, wasn't it? Even in Nigeria.
Yeah, they went to harass his grandma and stuff, but that isn't what that's trying to say. But also you have to understand what's going on in Nigeria right now, and the fact that Nigeria, you know, they're oil.
Yeah, there you go.
And now, you know, try to dehumanize a whole community. Of look, they're a threat to the world, and they're a threat to everybody. So look, you can't scapegoat a whole community like that. You can't scapegoat, and on top you can't ignore foreign policy. For someone to make that link? What a Muslim man can't make the link about with foreign policy, and when violence does come onto these streets. But Glenn Greenwald can say it. Joe Glenton, who's a former soldier, he's allowed to say it. But anyone else that says anything, also you're gonna arrest them. But so go arrest Glenn Greenwald and go arrest anyone. Go arrest psychologists who make the link between why someone might be affected by something, or why someone from a domestic violence home might go on to then oppress another person or something. So, you know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't at all, does it? So, I know we don't really want to dwell on the Woolwich thing, but I mean, before the break, I mentioned that he was black, he was Muslim, and he looked like the ordinary youth on the
that's what I'm saying. But again, like
do you get me?
Like that's not, you know, that's not even for me to say. Like yourself can probably say comment on that as yourself. Like the fear that you would feel more fearful. Like I feel fearful because again I'm from the Muslim community, but these, you know, brothers who are who fit all of them, who fit that whole
stereotype, for that.
Exactly. You know, even during 7/7 there was a lot of brothers, Black Revert brothers, who were made to feel very, you know, oh no, I can't say nothing no more. Everyone's watching us, but it's like, wait, how does that work?
Well, this brings me to the point of the Global 2000 report, which I've mentioned on previous shows here on Innervibe, and which, I mean, people know me that I've mentioned it a lot on threads on Facebook and so forth. And the Global 2000 report, which was commissioned by Jimmy Carter back in 1977, he issued a directive to the Congress, and he ordered that a 3-year study be implemented, which was called the 2000 report. In it, it states that the study there will be zero population growth for white people by the year 2000, and in order to preserve the survival of the white race, lands which contain resources that the US needs must be freed of its population. Now, we go back to Nigeria and the fact that they've got oil, and the rest of Africa, like Libya, the whole of it, Sierra Leone, Congo, the resources there, do you know what I mean?
But Congo's already mashed up in the whole situation.
Yeah.
But where's the media talking about Congo? So people are, over 48 women get raped every hour. They're not talking about that.
And what this Global 2000 report was created for was to keep an eye on the black population of the world, and to basically eliminate the black population, starting in Africa, then going to places like America. It was specifically designed for America, and obviously Africa with famine and poverty and so forth. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a connection here that we must take. We must look further into. Do you know what I mean? And so we can gain an understanding of it, so we can take the right action which is needed by not supporting, not conforming, and not complying to their system of oppression, and questioning it. Do you know what I mean?
And also, you have to look again. If you're part of the Muslim community and you're an African man or a woman, you've got two identities which are very, much part of the media. They're persecuted, and we can't ignore that. No. And when it comes to that, and again, it's this whole manipulation and trying to portray it as like, oh, look at how when people convert to Islam, look what happens to them. Look when a black man, oh look, he's already a threat because he's a black man, but now he's a Muslim. But it's like, how dare you do that to people? How dare you make people feel like they've got potential to become an oppressor because they believe in Islam? And then on top they're from a community that has been persecuted for how long? Like people from any colonized land, but more so, we can't ignore the persecution of the African community, which you will know more on, and you will personally feel more so because you're part of that community, and even in terms of Islam, and it's the fear that is embedded into people. People are saying, like, if you listen to the EDL and stuff, they're saying things like, oh no, but they want to bring the Sharia state, and it's, if you think how pathetic is that? Even there was 2 brothers in my university, and when they were going to apply for electoral posts inside the student union, they were completely tarnished. They were torn apart by media, the London Evening Standard, the Metro, all these things. They were completely torn apart and made to look, they were Arab brothers, but they were made to look pathetic and on the verge of some kind of like extremism. And it's like, wait a minute, how can someone implement Sharia law inside a university even? It's really pathetic. And it's like, for people to have knowledge, knowledge is what they're afraid of. Like people, I can be ignorant, I can be sitting there, watching this and dressing up and whatever, like just caring about me being vain as a woman, how we're made to be, or just caring about 1 or 2 things and not just being very self-indulgent, selfish and all these things. But coming about, that's what they want. They want everyone to be like these robots. Everyone's just going about. You walk around, that's all you see, that's all you see every day. Like that's the way that people are made to be. And if you're challenging that, all of a sudden you're a threat. But it's really, how can you be a threat? By having truth or having knowledge. The same way, when Brother Mazen Beg was taken into Guantanamo, like he was tortured in Kandahar, Bagram, taken into Guantanamo. But that was the thing that this, when intelligence would interrogate him, it always came down to the fact that he had knowledge. So most of them, they were talking rubbish. That their knowledge, their questions didn't even make any sense, And it's, how can you but he always had a way to come back and challenge that. That people were actually confused by what he had to say, but he had knowledge, and that's the thing is someone kind of Frederick Douglass said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave, and that is the reality of it. So people should want to know more, and it's not about just looking at me like me being like, oh Norman, yeah, you're brilliant, bruv, like you're an inspiration to me, but me just sitting back and like carrying on doing what I was doing before, and telling other people to shut up, I don't want to know, or I'm happy being the way I am, I don't want to know what you know, or I'm happy to be ignorant.
Ignorance is bliss.
But it goes to show how much it's damaging to people, or people say like, oh yeah, but I'm involved, I'm for this, but sometimes people are involved in things but they're very liberal about it, or they think it's all rosy, or they think it's all they don't understand struggles of resistance, they don't understand what has happened, like the revolution in Haiti. How come no one taught anyone about the revolution in Haiti? Because they see it as like threatening, but especially for the African community to know like what the people have done or what they have achieved. They won't teach you any kind of history. They don't teach me. They'll show you Mahatma Gandhi, but he, again, he was a racist. He might have said some good things, but again, he was racist towards the African community. I'm not going to pretend. But they won't teach you about like Subhash Chandra Bose, and he was the man who built the Indian National Army to liberate India against the British Raj, who were oppressing Indian people. And so they're not going to teach you stuff like that. That's for you to go and read about yourself.
It's interesting you say that about Gandhi.
Yeah, I only just found it out not that long ago, but you're made to feel in a way that, oh yeah, these are, let's pick your leaders for you. One of my friends, she's from she's had to live in different parts of the world, and her dad's from Ethiopia and her mum's Dutch, and she turned around to, she's lived with rednecks and stuff in America, and the way that she's had to see it, and even her the education she was taught whilst in America, and it was kind of like they were, they said, oh yeah, look, Nelson Mandela, just look at Nelson Mandela, but wait a minute, Nelson Mandela was not the only, she's saying, but what about Malcolm X? They're like, no, Nelson Mandela, let's choose your leaders for you. Exactly. But even again, when they choose people to speak on behalf of the Muslim community, and like the BBC, all these, the big questions, all these things, they're choosing people that are very, they're bowing to the system, or they're, like how you say the Uncle Toms,
or the house Negroes.
And like, oh look, the liberal, people, and people are made to feel like, there are people that are marginalised from their own community, but they're made to then look, oh look, here are the liberal moderate Muslims, and I'm going to, they're so much more nicer, and they're not judging me, and I don't wear a hijab, and they still talk to me. But really, is that what I'm supposed to be happy by when they're misrepresenting you, or they're running out to apologise on the whole of Islam and stuff like this happens? But no, you're not. Why are you apologising? Are the English community apologising when the EDL are doing what they're doing? Are they apologising for what's going on in other countries? Like, it's not even about, or people will say, oh no, how can you, you're holding us responsible for colonialism and all these things, and you're saying everyone, but at the same time, people don't understand the extent of oppression. They don't understand oppression, or they don't understand their own oppression because they don't know their own history.
And they're happy to live the lie, basically. I mean, it's the capitalist life.
Let me work 9 to 5. Let me go and make money now. It's all about money and my car. And look at me, I got these new garms. And seriously, like that's how our people are going on. So some people you can't have a conversation with because they're just interested in like that.
In the glamorous lifestyle. And what does glamour mean? Glamour means to be under a spell, and that's what people are under. They're under this spell of materialism, consumerism, the TV, Western modern culture, which is a satanic culture. It's right from Shaitan, and the TV itself is Shaitan's mouthpiece, and people need to get to recognise that, and turn off that stupidness, turn off that idiot box, dash it out the window, sell it, do whatever you need to do with it, but don't turn it on and infiltrate your brain cells with all that garbage.
And infiltrate your families' minds and stuff. But the thing is, it comes down to, again, that's people's reaction to it comes down to oppression as well. Because if you're a working class person, you've never, when you go to school and your friends have all got these designer clothes and stuff, and you're thinking, oh man, my parents can't afford this, and then when you get a job, you're excited, like, I can get all these things, and I can catch up with these people. Or if your parents have always given designer clothes and stuff, and now your parents have said, you got to a certain age now, I'm not paying for this. Then brothers are going to turn to drugs and selling this and that because they need to maintain that lifestyle because it's all for show and it's a pretentious lifestyle. But I'm, you know, I say this from my own experience. I've been there, you know, I've been through the whole like getting the first job and filling up my wardrobe and being all excited that finally I can afford all these things. Me and my friends used to hang around town window shopping. Now all of a sudden you're not a window shopper anymore. You know, you could buy these things, but really, it doesn't make you superior to anyone. It doesn't make you better just because you've got this jacket on that costs this many pounds. Who's that? And on top of all our clothes and what we own, our privileges are based on the exploitation of another people. And you know, if my parents are migrated, I could be that person in India in a factory that's, you know, been broke or you know, like what happened in Bangladesh with Primark and the Bangladeshi workers and the building collapse, the same kind of things that are going on. That could have been me or anyone else.
And that's what people have to understand as well, that it's something like 80% of all the materials and products what we use here are taken from what they call LDCs, which are less developed countries like India, Africa and South America and all the other LDCs across the world. 80% of all products and materials used are taken from our countries.
Yeah, exactly.
And we ourselves.
But then people are looking down at their own people. Look at them, they're freshies. But how can you say that about your own people and your own land? How can you be looking? But these countries are rich, or these countries are rich. But saying it in a way as in Europe and everything's rich. But how can this country? How is this country rich? What natural resources has this country got? What has it got? Potatoes. How can you get rich off potatoes? Seriously, do you know? No, but I'm being serious. So they've taken it. Any kind of privilege. If in fact that we should be going back to my country, or you going to Africa and going back and you know, seeing a mansion for your families, living in a mansion. You know what I mean? That's what you should be seeing. You know, before people like African people were living like kings, you know, and how can people pretend that oh no, Africa's supposed to be poor? Like I was in Sierra Leone last year, and the kids, you know, they were so on point and they were so smart. They were the ones that saying we're not supposed to be poor. We're not supposed to be poor. How can we be poor? We've got diamonds here. You know, they're taking it. The corporations, they're taking it. They're taking all the stuff. The white man's taking our resources, which is true.
Yeah, and I've got a statement to back that up as well, which was created by Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger was a former Secretary of State, I think, in Jimmy Carter's era, 1975, and this was coming from the National Memorandum. In that memorandum, it was the memo number 200, and it said it was 1975. And this is a quote by Henry Kissinger: "A reduction in the rate of population is a matter of vital United States security, since the United States will require a large and increasingly amount of material from abroad, especially from the less developed countries. That fact gives the United States enhanced interest in the political, economic and social stability of these supplying countries. Wherever a lessening of population can increase the prospects of such stability, population policy becomes relevant to sources, supply, and to the economic interest of the United States." And you can put the United Kingdom into that bracket as well, because the United Kingdom owns the United States. I mean, the United Kingdom is the financial hub of the world, if you like. The United States is only the military, and you know, as Rome is being the so-called religious. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? It's all controlled by these people, and what they do is just go into countries, pillage, rape, create poverty, create wars, and this is the result. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But again, you have to, like, all these cuts that have hit Europe and stuff. But look at what happens then if you go back to that idea of like fascism. You know, white supremacist viewpoint of what, you know, even in like the extreme situation, like in Greece, they're part of the European Union and the Golden Dawn, and the way that the migrants are treated there. There's a documentary you can watch on YouTube. It's called Into the Fire, which is a brilliant documentary. I watched it not that long ago. I wrote a piece about it. Maybe I might read it out later because I've still got it on me. But it's about fascism there and how migrants are treated, and you know, it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and that's real life for people that are non-white and the way they treat. But now, you know, there's some of the community have templated what the Black Panthers did, and now they're saying, don't mess with black people.
Yeah.
To turn around and to say, you mess with us, we're patrolling the streets at night, you're not attacking our people anymore.
Yeah.
And even the police, the state's involved in that. Like you have to remember, in any form of fascism, the police are involved in that. Like maybe not all of them, but they are. They're involved. You're telling people it's a 9 to 5 job for some people, and there's always some sort of collaboration or liaising with right wing. Like say here in the EDL, there's police that will support their views. Yeah. And like the other day, me and one another brother, when we at the demo, the brother was saying to him like, how can you be working for them to an African brother? And they were like, what do you mean? Like, what's that supposed to mean? But it's like, in the end of the day, these people don't respect you. They don't respect, and some of the white officers were sniggering. And how you feel for that person still. You feel for that person still because And then I got a uniform. They're just, someone's just a packy or whatever else they want to call you. So, and on top, your children and your family and your community is not protected by your uniform. So how can you be complicit in that? It's your own people that are getting stopped and searched every day.
But again, it's a lack of intelligence, and it's a lack of emotional intelligence.
But we're all desensitized. We're made to be desensitized. Like for someone to be sensitive or humanize other people, it's like it's a bad thing. You're made people want you to lose any kind of soul connection, and to be really like spiritually drained and really kind of I'm just this person in the world and I don't really care.
Like a robot.
But there's loads of people and there's so many people that are like really depressed and stuff. We can't ignore that, and the more when the economy starts to drop and people's that right wing sort of parties and all the rest of that starts to rise. How can the BNP have come out yesterday? There was only 60 of them in London. 40 to 60 anti-fascists were arrested, but how did they even dare to show their face like at this time? It goes to show what's going on since the condemned government came into power. And the cuts came into place, and then tuition fees were risen to $9,000, and all these other things that are affecting our communities. So a young person that's looked forward to all their life going through the school system, and then I can't go to university. My parents can't afford this. I'm not going to get into that debt. I'm not smart enough. It's only for the rich.
I'm sure they did this. What do they call it? When the two governments the two parties came together. Coalition, and I'm sure they did it on purpose, because Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats, innit? Condemn, as you said, condemn, and that's what that's the term that we use in our community, to condemn. They get me, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're conning people, conning the people. They were conning the people.
Yeah, but look at what Liberal Democrats had said, and now Nick Clegg and that are all bowing down to whatever is going on anyway. It's the same crap, but again, like even what like Obama, he made a lot of promises. He said he was going to close Guantanamo. He said a lot of stuff, and everyone was like, or people will just look to a face because they are made to feel there. But it's like, wait a minute, it will just upset you when you see that kind of stuff and you try to challenge it.
He's just another a pawn, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's just put there by the bankers yet again. You know what I mean? And that's who's controlling the world, is the bankers. You know what I mean? They've got control of all the lands and colonise people's minds through media and their education system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's like who's tuning in, ain't it? Or who's tuning in? Or people just get like the other day when I did some poetry at the events. And there was like one of the sisters came up to me like, I respect, and you're like, oh yeah, militant, but it's like, when people recognise that, but at the same time it's about collectivity. It's not about just admiring something. I'm not a face for my community. And then my community, everyone's an individual, but we're a collective.
It's so like, what are you gonna do when you leave there? It's okay admiring you and
I don't want people. People can be inspired by you, right? But it's not about then thinking, oh yeah, she's gonna do something. No. How are we how are we supporting each other? And it's affecting everyone. It's not just me. And I understand I have a lot more privilege than a lot of people from my own communities, And
I think when it really affects the individuals, they'll react.
Yeah, but why did we have to wait until something happens to someone in your family or someone in your area or something? But other than that, no one's bothered. Or people in outer city areas away from London don't feel it as much. They don't see the metropolitan. They're not seeing people got beat up by the police. You know, some of the young people that are like 18 years old that have been beat up by the police, punched in the face or whatever, and taken to court. Are you serious? But people are relating because it's not happening on their streets. People are happy, like, as long as it's not happening near us, we're cool. But like, even with the way that Leicester reacted to the EDL coming here, you know, it was very interesting, but at the same time, it showed the lack of solidarity with other people, because it's, wait a minute, 200 other people have been attacked. Over 200 attacks have happened in England since the Woolwich case on Muslim communities, you know, Pakis, you know what I mean? So it's like and a mosque has been fired on. I know you don't want it to happen near your house, but again, do you not relate to what's happening there? Like, why can you? Or a mosque demonstrated, like 5,000 Muslims came out to demonstrate against, like, to apologise for what had happened. But what? Is your mind's colonised? Like, why are you coming out?
So they didn't come out when the 80-year-old man got killed?
Yeah, no one came out for that, but they came out to about the soldier. But it was like, wait a minute. Okay, if 5,000 you came out to the Iraq and Afghanistan demos, if we saw your faces there, then fair play, you might feel sympathy for another man. But we're not showing consistency, and when you're only showing it to someone, you know, you're feeding into this white supremacist ideology anyway, because you're saying yourself, oh, his life is more superior to anyone else's, because they ain't crying when someone from your community dies. People ain't crying.
Look at the amount of babies, mothers, men who were killed in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria today.
But even
not even started with the black countries yet, which have been colonised and.
But even if we take it, pretend no country's occupied. You just have to look at where corporations are. You know, like even in Sierra Leone around Christmas time, the local community in Kono, which is the worstly affected area by the war and stuff, and you know, they've got one of the biggest mining companies there, and the diamond mines, and people, the local community protested against it, and they were saying, no, we want more rights, as in we want better pay, and they supported the miners that work for the corporation. There's independent miners as well, but they supported the miners who work for the corporation, saying, we're not putting up with this racism that we're facing from the Europeans who work in here. You know, they've even got, you know, it's an Israeli-owned mining company, but again, like Britain are involved in a lot of this stuff, and they've got their own London mining company and African minerals and all these things, you know. That's like a whole nother topic altogether. But I mean, itself, when these people came out to protest against what had happened, and you know, and when they were saying we're not putting up this racism no more, and two people were killed, and there were two young people, which are technically, and one of the young boys was a former child combatant, you know, and he was made to do things during the war, but the fact is, if he came under the category of street child, all these NGOs that supposedly help street children, where are they to support and say, wait a minute, you just killed a child? These European NGOs, they're not, you know what I mean? There's no consistency or no support. They're not tackling, or they're not challenging neoliberalism. They're not challenging neocolonialism. So don't tell me all these people that are liberal organisations that are, you know, colonise these countries in a different way are for the people. You know, it's cool to, you look, let's take pictures with these Indian or African children, or these Palestinian kids, but don't you know what I mean? Like even in Palestine, in Ramallah, all these NGOs, they benefit from the Zionist occupation. They benefit from the Israeli because they're making money out of this. People are making money, so it's how.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it? It's about money.
But I'm not. You know, I used to be very naive. I used to think anything positive, anything good is good. But it's not that simple.
No.
It's not that simple. And we have, you know, if someone from another community, if I was stepping on your toes as an African man, it is for you to say that, and I have to respect that. And it's not about me getting all defensive about it, you know. Or if someone else was stepping on my toes as an Asian woman or a Muslim woman, tell me about it. I mean, they have to listen. It's not about them. Oh no, I'm doing this good stuff, and you can't tell me. A lot of people are actually very racist, and they think they're doing it. But at the top, they've got they believe you're inferior to them. That's why they feel you need their support.
Yeah, they've got this superiority complex. And as you said, it's the white supremacist mentality.
Yeah, and a lot of our people have gave into that.
That's right.
So people will be excited to see you. You know, at this, like. I've got cousins in India, but I don't know like how people would react to you being a British blah 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 kind of person, and it's that kind of thing of like this hierarchy. But it's like, wait a minute, no, I'm not better than you. You know, in fact, you're probably done brilliant things in your life compared to me, or whatever. How can it doesn't? These labels or these little things, they don't identify anything. You can't judge someone about what place they're at.
But you got to give this system credit, innit? Because it's done a fantastic job of manipulating people's mindsets across the land.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even from the bushes in Africa, India. Do you know what I mean? To here.
You have to look like across the whole global south, and all the communities, like the whole skin bleaching thing that's promoted. Again, in Bollywood, you've got all the so-called the Indian actresses are all light skinned. I'm not I'm light skinned, but I'm not a representative of my community. My community has more melanin. You know what I mean? So I don't know what happened, but people are like, oh, you're fair, you're lighty.
You're beautiful.
Yeah,
you've dyed your hair blonde. You've got blonde wig on. Unbelievable.
No, I mean that's not that doesn't define your beauty. That doesn't define your beauty, and these women are not. Why should a community have to then idolize these women who fit the white supremacist ideology? And they fit that image because that's not what people look like. And if you go to India, that's not what people look like. They don't look like me.
That's what they want to look like now, though, don't they?
Yeah, but why?
Because the media?
Yeah, but this again, white supremacy is people with the skin bleaching, the hair dyeing, the coloured contact lenses. You know, yesterday, yesterday, I was so happy. Yesterday, I seen one of my old friends that I used to play with when I was a kid. I remember she used to wear coloured contact lenses from when we were young. And it was really funny because I said to her, oh, you took your coloured contact lenses out. She goes, yeah. Forget that, some of us we have to change. And I said, and she was like, yeah, white supremacy. No, I was like, yes. Finally. She took her coloured contact lenses out. I was like, look, why do you need to have a different coloured eyes? Because some other people have told you, oh no, blue eyes are more superior, green eyes are more superior. That's beautiful. No, you should be happy with how you're looking.
Exactly. Be proud of it.
Or be natural,
be proud of it, man. And I'm gonna say it, because we are not here to slate the Caucasian race at all. We just drop.
But it's about recognising. I know I've got a lot of white friends who we do work with, and it's the solidarity.
Exactly.
That people understand their solidarity. It's not about overstanding a community and saying, oh no, we know what's better for you. That's not cool. We can lead. Like even when it comes to like fascism and this white supremacist EDL and all this stuff, we should be leading how we're resisting that, how we're going to challenge it, or we speaking like I'm an Asian Muslim woman. I'm allowed to speak about this, and my community is the one targeted. Some other person can't really come and be so vocal about my community. Do you get what I mean? And when they're not the ones who are facing that, and it's about how that challenging it, and again understanding. You support that solidarity way. Like say again, when me and you were talking, and you mentioned the African community, I said that you can speak for that. Why do I need? You're sitting here. What have you not got a voice? You know what I mean? But seriously, and it's that kind of a thing. And it's not about, we're not trying to slip. It's about people recognizing their privilege. Again, how I recognize my privilege in my community. People need to recognize their privilege. They need to know how they're favored in a lot of things. Like white men are not stopped and searched every day. So who's filling the prisons and stuff? Even in America, it's the same kind of thing. People get away with a lot of stuff based on their privilege, and it's about learning about white privilege. You know what I mean? It's not, but obviously people are going to get angry or annoyed when people aren't understanding that, because people's struggles are not the same. We've had our culture taken away from us. We've been made to feel our culture is inferior to everyone else's. All people from colonised land. So our struggle is a different one. Like colonised communities need to work together, and anyone else who's not from that has to support that. But not in a way like they're overstepping that kind of thing. Like like in London, we work it as there's people from different communities, and when people sit on a panel, it's people speaking for themselves, and that's the beauty of it. Like even for, like you just have to look at the way the Palestinian struggle has been exploited. Like Palestinians can speak for themselves. Why does everyone feel like they need to talk on behalf? I've been there myself, to feel like, oh yeah, I've been here now, I need to talk for them, and oh, I need to help these people, but but people, like people will liberate themselves, and that's the thing that we always have to remember. Like people will liberate themselves. They don't. Nobody needs saving.
Nobody
needs saving
apart from ourselves.
Yeah, exactly, and nobody needs saving. That's the thing, and it comes down to supporting what people have to say. You learn off of people, but you support them, and on top, it's this whole idea. Even with the Muslim community, like. Yeah, charity, zakah is one of the 5 pillars, but it's also a lot of people. The Muslim community has been very influenced by this whole liberalism as well, and the way that they support. Like people thinking that they know what's the best way. Like, how can people? Yeah, people raise money for wells and all the rest of it. Fair play, but these people in these communities know. You know what I mean? When I was in, my political views were not very correct when I was in Sierra Leone. For which the community themselves challenged, and I learned a lot, and it wasn't how, I'm walking from the well, I'm chucking all the water over, I don't even know what I'm doing. So how can someone that lives here, based on his privilege, be dictating to another people? People know what they're doing, you know what I mean? Like you can't, like even if someone's got a profession, I'm not going to sit down with an engineer and pretend I know more than an engineer. That's the way. That's the way it is. Like you can I've studied international relations, and again I've worked, been involved in community stuff. So that's the kind of thing. And in terms of mobilizing and understanding and all these things, it's about us learning. Like I respect my elders, and I want to learn off what they already know. That's right. And it's not about assuming, but at the same time, it's not for the elders to assume that young people don't know anything. That's the other thing. Elders can't assume or like try to. Manipulate the energy that young people do have, because Huey Newton said as well that young people will carry a revolution, and that's the beauty of it. And like obviously these things are all new to me. You've been listening to this stuff for years, you know. I mean, I'm not being disrespectful or nothing, but I mean that's the reality of it. So obviously people can become very passionate when they're speaking about things.
Anyway, so
You know what I mean, though.
And I'm to think that I am leading the revolution in some sense, anyway.
I mean,
saying it for quite a while, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the Muslim, say in the Muslim community, we can't assume that the elders are the ones who are just speaking for us, but some of them are not talking sense, or they're taking dirty money off the government. That's not cool. That's not cool. How can you be doing that to spy on like Afghan kids? I'm sorry, Afghan kids are the ones who have to ring their cousins and stuff in Afghanistan to see if they're still alive. Are we having to do that? No.
Well, people need to take a serious look at themselves, innit?
And people can't forget that. People can't forget this country is occupying other countries. That's the thing.
Exactly.
And why does an incident like this have to happen before people remember again, or they're in tune? We're occupier.
Well, click a button and then they react, innit? They're like robots.
But even sometimes we're reactionaries to a lot of things, but it's kind of coming to understand that. But I mean, people that are involved, and I mean, even with the EDL, like people are like, let's get out. But at the same time, it's like, what are we challenging? And then these people, most of them are just drunk, and they're very they're not intelligent, or they're not educated. They're the working class that are exploited.
I prefer to use the term retarded, okay? Because that's what they are.
But I mean, in the sense of people not having the knowledge. So again, like because of that factor, people are. They're exploited by the system to carry out these things, and it's the same way that with sectarianism and Islam. People when they look at the media, they think, "Oh my God, look at these Muslims are fighting all over the world," and you look at these sectarians, Shias and Sunnis. People can't forget before 2003 there wasn't all this drama about Sunnis and Shias. Again, that was placed there by the West.
That's right.
So
it's high time that people do their own research, as you said. We're in the age of information, and
there's loads of books. Read about Frantz Fanon.
To be wise.
Read Frantz Fanon. Read all these. There's loads of things to read, but it's about us wanting to read.
That's right. You have to have the desire for the truth. Once you have the desire for truth.
And it doesn't mean that you're not, you're a geek or something because you're reading all the time.
Exactly.
Or people try to put you down. Sorry, I'd rather spend my money on books now than on clothes. What's going to feed me in my mind? You know what I mean?
You feed the soul.
Feed us and on top feed knowledge as well. Like knowledge feeds your soul. So that's what you're supposed to be doing, and building on people who are interested in that, and on top inspiring other people to be knowledgeable.
Exactly. Awesome. Right, we're gonna take a break.
That's cool.
We're gonna play some Capleton. That day will come. By the request of Shareefa.
Equal rights and justice for all. Rise and never fall. Tell themselves, boom. What they gonna do when enough of them not true? Say what they gonna do, them get slew, yeah. Who do you think you are? We're living in a small world. As wicked as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As bad as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As tough as you think you are, we're living in the one of them. Alright, that day will come when I stand and see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape and there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie shall rise the world they get to loot them from out of Islam, yeah. And the day I would love to see their face for all those evil they do to the human race and try to take things out of place, run away to space, shoot them in the air. Whoa. After one judgment you are gonna get the taste when them find out that them can't escape. Sadness they send on the people them trace. Smile on my face. That day will come when I just stand and see all those wicked men and the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape and there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie shall rise the one they get to loot them out of the slum. Boom. Who do you think you are? We're living in a small world. As wicked as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As slick as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As tough as you think you are, we're living in the one that me and Nagi tell you. Escape today, you can't escape tomorrow. Make sure you pay back anytime you borrow. Make sure you don't left no life in a sorrow. Make sure you're not lean and straight like arrow. Make sure your brain no push out in a barrow. Make sure no make them walk out and borrow. Yeah, make sure your meditation no narrow. Judgment, everyone tell them something the world I want. That day will come when I stand and see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape and there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see they handing over bombs and bayonets and bullets and guns. That day will come when Emperor Selassie shall rise up on the wings of the heavens and of the sun. Oh yes, I will remain the same, hailing Rastafari name, and watch them going up in flames. For all the innocent going down the drain, you have to pay for the shackles and chains, and pay for this washing of the brain, and pay for these guns and cocaine, the sick and the lame. Alright, that day will come when I shall stand and see all those wicked men in the fire getting burned. That day will come when they will try to escape and there will be nowhere to run. That day will come when I shall see them.
The Innervibe Show on S-Ence Radio. This is Yaz Alexander.
So we say, you get me. Anyway, yes, welcome back to the Innervibe Show on S-Ence Radio with Brother Haru and my guest, Shareefa. Spitting some bars. She's gonna spit some bars right now, some spoken words. So yeah, go for it, Shareefa.
Yeah, I wrote this thing not that long ago. We had like a documentary screening for Into the Fire, and it was kind of about fascism in Greece and the Golden Dawn and stuff. I was kind of inspired and I was just writing. Sometimes when I just want to make sense of my thoughts, I was just writing, so I'll just read it out. So many of us are walking around with our eyes closed, ignoring what's going on around us till violence comes closer to home. Some of us are 10% aware of what's going on because we don't deeply feel it. Many flick on the news and think that's us doing our bit. Knowing and not feeling don't really ever make a difference. Neither does nodding one's head or speaking to anyone who pretends to listen. We say get the troops out of Afghanistan and stop the war in Iraq. But if we were still living with the IRA still resisting, with England regularly under attack, what if there was an apartheid war between Britain and the states it's occupying? What if there wasn't land and seas between the occupier and the occupied Britain's currently colonising? If England and Afghanistan were closer in mileage, like the occupier, Israel and Palestine, we understand the resistance of the indigenous, but not so deeply with who the British terrorise. When violence comes to these streets, communities are shocked like military bases are foreign to them. Kids competing on Call of Duty glamorise the military, but modern warfare is an unregistered concept. Over in Greece, it's migrants from countries terrorised by Europeans in uniform, but on the land it's still part of the European Union. Migrants from communities with corporations from Europe and drones hovering over them. We fail to recognise the seriousness of fascism closer to home. It's the Golden Dawn, role modelling Nazis with the police being in a malicious place with the oppression they condone. It's sisters like Safina Kafikaki, who was part of Greek resistance during World War II, who stand today with the victims of fascism and police brutality, refusing to stand with nothing but the truth. Communities shouldn't have to live in fear even when migrating to post-dictatorship states. Greek police shouldn't be dismissive when witnessing violence or swearing allegiance to fascist rising parties. White supremacy again rears its ugly head. No African, Asian, and Arab or Nicotalaka's welcome. It's clear you're either with us or with them. Greeks in solidarity with migrants get threatened, but migrants receive the harshest slap of racism. Children threatened with death, windows smashed, and migrants' IDs ripped to shreds. Whilst we're living in Europe, we need to focus on who we're occupying and terrorising. Show solidarity to migrants who fled war zones where the West is actively humiliating. Institutional racism should be resisted against boldly without us buying the fear they are currently indoctrinating. Solidarity with our brothers like Mahdi Hashi, currently extradited for refusing to spy, resulting in him being interrogated. Enemy Combatant by Muazzam begs a recommended memoir to understand MI5 tactics. They demand good-hearted people to sell their souls, raids and arrests quicker than hat-tricks. We need to stay loyal to our roots and with the oppressed, handing out legal information, speak the truth, stand with justice. Colonised communities here are Muslims being raided and occupied by the police. Their agenda's been clear for decades, but the incident in Woolwich justifying their paranoia, camouflaging the reality of them as bullies.
Brap. Double brap. Yes. What can you say about that, eh? you did a piece also at...
Yeah, I got that. Do you want me to read it?
Leicester's got Raw Talent on Wednesday.
Yeah. Do you want me to read that?
Which is quite a good night, actually.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed myself, even though I was demoted to door staff.
Yeah. No, I can read that. Let me find this thing. Oh, where are you? Yeah, it's just because I like to write more than I like to perform.
Yeah,
you know, because I'm just trying to. But yeah, I'll share this. Okay. So many issues have arisen triggered by the West in 2013. The government refusing to make sense for why people are hurting. They're trying to deny the attack of Woolwich to be related to foreign policy. Every time a Muslim makes a link, we're labelled and censored in this so-called liberal democracy. If we lived in a participatory democracy, things would be different. Citizens wouldn't feel marginalised and powerless when demonstrating resilience. Facebook and Twitter wouldn't be dependent arenas for communities to have voices. Organised demonstrations wouldn't go ignored, people would be left with more choices. Every act of violent resistance is always a cry for help, a last resort act of desperation, many judging situations when occupation they've never witnessed themselves. It's been over a decade, civilians still getting slaughtered in Iraq and Afghanistan. If we lived under British colonial rule with our ancestors facing violent oppression, then maybe we'd understand. Communities from colonised lands were massacred. You can't expect me to salute the British flag. The butcher's apron still parading the Union still covertly in our lands, because we didn't really get it back. Without having knowledge of our history, we can't truly understand our oppression today. It's not called living in the past when our communities aren't liberated, our men stopped and searched every day. Institutions are racist. Ask Christopher's sister, Janet Older, where was the white community's outrage when Christopher was murdered in 1998 in police custody? But oh, he was an African British soldier. It's the inconsistency when it comes to mourning. Only the white man's life deserves to be mourned over. There was silence when 57 people were murdered in Iraq, the same day Lee Rigby was killed, the famed drummer. It's not only Muslims who are angry who come from colonised lands. The Black Panther Party in the US resisted boldly. They weren't Muslims, they were African. Neither was Muhammad Ali, a practicing Muslim, when he objected to the war in Vietnam. It's a stand against injustice and genocide, feeling another man's pain, being human. Many have begun to question the propaganda when witnessing the terrorising of Michael Adibolajo's family in Nigeria. Why was the American man not plastered all over media when he drove to a mosque with bombs in a boot? But oh, we can't let his mental health cause mass hysteria. Where's the outrage of the 200 plus Islamophobic attacks within a week of the Woolwich incident? Police were arresting anti-fascists at an EDL march. Internal fascism they try to keep hidden. Maybe only those in the capital witnessing the violence of the Metropolitan recognise the intensity of deaths in police custody after having bruises when by the police they've been beaten. The police are violent in Britain. It's not only in the USA, but it's important for us to link community oppression from Highfields to Brixton, the Bronx to LA. They put Azata Shakur from the Black Panthers on the FBI's most wanted terrorist. They assassinated Malcolm Shabazz, our elder Malcolm X's only male grandkid. They extradited Mahdi Hashi from North London, attempting to frame him for refusing to spy for MI5. Internationally, it's the African and Muslim community the government set out to label and terrorise. We can't be so caught up in our individualist, capitalist, money-making lifestyles that we're complicit in what's going on. It doesn't help when the elders label the youth when they're on the streets. Isn't the state to blame for bringing in the drugs and the guns? Neither shall we accept those who are clued up and passionate to be labelled as extremists. Our ancestors weren't cowards and didn't die to liberate us out of fear for being associated with so-called terrorists. Enough of the propaganda, enough of the collaborators and infiltrators. Don't claim to be for the youth when trying hard to hide their history from them as a colonised people. Imperialism never just stopped with resources. They tried to rob us of our culture. Look around, brown sisters with blonde hair. They colonised our minds to believe we're inferior. They said to be like the white man, to be embarrassed of the accent of our indigenous community. We want justice, truth and answers before we pretend migration stopped racism and erased our history. Being British don't make us superior. Maybe my cousins in India are in a better place. Second generation migrants with identity crisis in the colonisers' land racism we still face. Though the shade of my skin gives me privilege, I'm less likely to be attacked than an Asian sister with darker skin. Hundreds of years of pillaging and genocide, still an attack on melanin, for there is no freedom in a capitalist system. If knowing our history and not buying propaganda means we're being radicalised, isn't truth an act of justice instead of supporting the British military being glamorised? Involving our communities in public services when it's our fellow colonised communities being dehumanised, blood spilt mercilessly to loot oil, but many get defensive even when evidence is placed in front of their own eyes. It's easy to condemn China when an oppressed Tibetan man sets himself alight. When it's our own communities being oppressed, why do we turn our cheek and give up without a fight?
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Where will you be performing next?
I don't even know.
I know you say you don't like performing, but I mean, okay, giving a rendition of your wisdom.
I don't know, like whatever people invite me.
Okay.
But mainly I like to do things like workshop based as well, so it's kind of other people have got things to say as well, so you kind of get to allow other people to say something, and then you've got something to say too.
Exactly.
Because it's not just me. You agree with what I'm saying because you've got them thoughts going through your head as well.
Yeah. Because
I'm not saying anything special compared to
to do something.
But I mean, I'm not saying anything special compared to other people are thinking of these things. But yeah.
And we'll talk about that after the show as well, and because I believe it's time to really get out there, and I've got a lot of things that we'll be doing later on in the year, later on in the summer. So I mean, and I'd like other people to get on board with that as well. As you say, it's not just about me saying what I've got to say, it's about other people who's got something to say as well, to give people a platform.
And especially
especially youth as well.
Yeah, and I'm from Leicester, and to really allow young people from Leicester to be able to voice their own oppression and to be able to understand what's going on, and not to feel like, why does everyone have to feel like, you know what? I ain't shit because they've told me I'm not nothing, and the whole self-fulfilling prophecy. Again, that's one thing that's really harmful to our people, like the self-fulfilling prophecy, which goes on from your first day at school. And every day, getting stopped and searched. Some of the most people that end up in prison, like the police, like young people, the police are every day rolling around their block. Like these particular areas, even in Leicester that I know of, these kids have ended up in prison because the police are always, even when they're not doing anything,
intimidation.
They're terrorising them. It is, and it's racist. It's institutional racism, and we can't deny that. We can't pretend. Oh no, but these kids, they are doing this. But I'm saying, if you're gonna tell me every single day, oh Shareefa, you waste girl, oh Shareefa, blah blah blah, I am gonna start feeling it. I am going to start reacting in a certain way if you're going to tell, It's the same with women. Women are put down all the time. Oh, you hoes, you this, you that. And women start to feed that because they're made to feel a certain way, or they're given the portrait of how they're supposed to be. And they start to feed it. And sometimes some women will turn around and say, you know what, wait a minute, that's not cool. I'm not cool to feed that what they put out there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we've reached the top of the hour. It's exactly 9 o'clock. Where can people find you? In fact, not yet. What we'll do, we'll go to another music break, and then we'll come back, and then we can close out. Yeah?
Okay, that's cool.
We like our music breaks on Innervibe. I mean, as you know already, we're going to change it up a bit with a bit of blue. Life's a gamble.
Right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though I roll the dice too many times a night, I was told life, living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though the road is long and narrow, it's a battle, but I was told life is a gamble. Hey yo, money makes the world go round, so put your bets down. Cause if it's my life, I always put my best out. It's all or nothing. Y'all be bluffing cause you stressed out, betting what you ain't got, sweating but it ain't hot. And out here, we bear it all like a tank top. Ask us, we ain't scared at all. We been shank shot, locked up, and ain't stopped risking what we live for. What's losing loot when you been poor? And who cares if you spend more? So what if you pitch raw? You just making the ratio smaller for us to get more. Life's a gamble with the odds on us. I'm just praying God evens it up, for he declares war. And sore losers swore blue was the victor. But I'm just like y'all, except I live my life wrong. I smile when they tell me to frown, and looking up when they tell me I'm down, because I'm living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though I roll the dice too many times a night, I was told life, living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though the road is long and narrow, it's a battle, but I was told life is a gamble.
Life got me counting my blessings every second I get. Ain't got much, but it's more than what some people die to get. Little money I try to flip, and it goes so quick, and I'm sitting pissed cause I make small change for bigger sense. I take a whole lot of risk, and the older I get, the load still heavy. When trouble try me, I forever stay ready. I keep it steady in the belly of the streets, don't sleep day and night. Life is a gamble and there ain't no lucky streaks involved. It's all small to a big dog with big balls. I pick up the pieces wherever the chips fall. Call me a scabber, just stripping the bone clean. Where I'm from, just to eat, you gotta risk everything. Worth something, pockets hurting, got me searching for a remedy. Enemies after my currency won't be the enemy, no. I know a lot of people that need a little help, but still in the game, playing with the cards dealt.
Right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though I roll the dice too many times a night, I was told life, living my right or wrong, this is my song, and I'ma keep on singing it till the world sings along. Even though the road is long and narrow, it's a battle, but I was told life is a gamble.
When I was born, I rolled 7 from the opening scene. Son of John and Irene, it's a beautiful thing. John and Shay's little brother, every day I discovered the potential of becoming who I'm hoping to be. If I hope and believe, at least that's what I was told. Watch days go by, new year, another roll. From there, man, I don't know, things wasn't the same. Got caught up in the game, it seems my luck changed. Seen snake eyes watching, side betting, trying to say I won't make it, but I don't sweat them. Keep it all in perspective with life lessons. Spending days on the past line, trying to stretch them. Seen some homies crap out early, God bless them. I'll roll 12, I'll see you, no question. Still then, I'm finna rip these joints with a pen, trying to hit my point and be your boy track. Alright.
I'm trying to make do. Yeah, I'm trying to make moves. I pop one pill, then it's time to take 2. I smoke one blunt, then it's time to drink brews. When I'm fighting with myself and my mind is Babe Ruth. Life is a gamble, homie, so play right. One false throw, you rolling a snake eye. In the depths of the grasses where the snakes lie. I'm real to the core, so when a fake lie, I can read that. Kick back with a weed sack, I need that to relax my mind. Let it lean back, recline, let me read back my lines. Let me retract, rewind, let me relax your mind like some fine wine. It's the choices that you make that define time. The bright side can never be seen with a blind eye. If I'm walking by myself, I invite God, but I didn't have to. My right arm peeping, my soul's off, lost in the deep end with a heart so cold that it's hard as to see me. So tell Mom Dukes I'll be gone to the evening on a path to my purpose and a road to some meaning. I speak from the soul, if I spoke then I mean it. See God in myself, some folks never meet him. I'm far from the end, but I'm close to my freedom. I'm wishing, hoping, dreaming, life is a gamble. Things I live by. Always aim
You know,
for the
sky.
I could do that.
You see, sir, when I look at the ace, it reminds me that there is but one God. And the deuce reminds me that the Bible is divided into 2 parts, the Old and the New Testament. When I see the tray, I think of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And when I see the 4, I think of the 4 evangelists who preached the gospel. There was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
That was Blue, like Mr. Campbell. We have Shareefa on the show, and we're going to be closing off very shortly. Few last words, Shareefa. Do you want to mention about the exhibition that you? I did ask at the beginning of the show.
That was more so the fact that, like, you know, challenging Islamophobia has, you know, I've been doing it for quite a long time, but obviously I've been studying and stuff, so I've not been that active.
Okay.
You know, and on top, I've been away from my hometown, so it hasn't been that easy. But at the same time, I was trying to bring back things that I've learned now, because you know, it's about people wanting to learn. It's about people opening their eyes and really seeing what's going on, and seeing that what's going on to what else does affect them, because policies, you know, we have to remember the same time when Mark Duggan got killed in 2011 by the police, you know, African people were being lynched in Libya. So we can't ignore, do you know, by British people. And I mean, we can't pretend that we're living in this rosy place and, you know, let's all integrate and stuff, because, wait a minute, like, we have, you know, you can't just bow to your oppressor all the time, and it's in the way that it comes about, you know, like this so-called integration that also like kind of manipulates people's minds as well. Like, you know, yeah, we coexist, but these things, like, I'm only comfortable by knowing where we are coming from. Not made to feel, oh no, they don't want to be my friend because I'm not from their community, but understand where does it all come from in the first place. And it's really about understanding that, and also for people to be more aware and to be able to challenge these infiltration programs that are coming up into our communities. You know, they're everywhere, like in schools, colleges, universities. You know, even like for Islamic societies, to ask for events to be segregated, which that's no problem. You know what I mean? I study like post-colonial, like feminism and stuff like that as well. But I mean, that's not. How can anyone make an issue or make out that someone's on the verge of being on violent extremism because they're asking for a segregated event? Is that how pathetic it's got? You know, people make compromises. We make compromises, don't it? Like, if you're sitting with your friend who's a vegetarian, you might try to make a compromise when you're both eating together. That's it. But it's not, you know, it doesn't make that other person like, oh my gosh, oh, she's such a hardcore vegan or vegetarian and she's not going to let me eat. No, you make that compromise so that other person's comfortable as well. You know? So it's about really being aware about what is going on in our communities, because there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of infiltration, but by people within your own, within your own, and you know, even like,
as you said earlier,
that people that look like you, and they, you know, they hold your labels, and that's the truth about it. Like, even, you know, even about character assassination and stuff, that comes through the people from your own community. Like Malcolm Shabazz, before he was killed, you know, 2 months before that, he said, people come for you, they won't come for you in a suit and a tie.
Exactly.
They will look like you.
Exactly. And
that's the thing.
And that was one of the plans of the Global 2000 agenda, again, was to infiltrate the black movements and to make them not unite.
Yeah, because people want to divide them. Exactly. But it's so easy when you're an oppressed person. Anyone who puts their hand out to you, like, look, here, take this money, or do this, you're gonna take it. You know, how do they get soldiers? It's all working. You know, they exploit that economically and all these things as well. Like, obviously, other things come into play, but I mean, the ideology behind it and the dehumanizer that's already gone on through propaganda. But I mean, you know, that's how they get people from other countries to do their dirty wars for them, and it's people are used as tools, but it's through infiltration, and we have to be aware, and we have to be challenging that. I'm not, you know, it's not for anyone to sit down about it. Like, wrong is wrong, injustice is injustice, oppression is oppression.
Simple as that.
And you're either for truth or you ain't, and you can't, you know, you can't lie to yourself. And you can't lie to your own people.
And we're at that time where but
that's what I'm saying. Like, people are full of, like, we've all been deceived. You know, we live through deception, all these things, and how much more can you take by people you're supposed to trust? It's not cool. That's all I'm saying, and you know, we need to be able to challenge that. But also, you know, a lot of people will manipulate things they don't understand. People are feds of misunderstanding. So, you know, even if I said anything today, people might try to manipulate what I've said because they don't understand it. But it's about reading. You know, I've turned around to some people saying, oh my God, how can you say that? But I'm saying it now because I understand it. But I'm not just going to say something out of copying someone. I'm going to read about it. I'm going to learn about it before I'm going about saying things that I'm not wary of understanding. You know, like liberalism. That's a whole new thing. People should, like, that's a whole topic itself. People need to identify and understand before, you know, when getting involved in activism, because there will be people that will tell you, like, no, what you're doing ain't cool. It's very liberal, you know, but it's not because they're trying to be like, oh, you're not good enough, but it's more like critiquing something that a lot of people have started off with liberalism. A lot of people that did ever get involved in anything. So it's about learning about and really wanting to learn and seeking that knowledge. You know, we're students, we're always students, and I mean, even for the Muslim community, like people can't, even if we're talking specifically about the Muslim community, you know, like even Bukhari, it said seeking knowledge is compulsory for every Muslim, and I mean, it's not even just for I think everyone should have that access to knowledge. Like when I see EDL, I feel sorry for them. I think, you know what, you've been deprived, and this capitalist system. Like when I met an EDL guy the other day, he's like, I'm a second-class citizen in my own country. But it's, you're not challenging what has put you in that place. You're not challenging capitalism. You're not challenge, you know, the people at the top. Why are you attacking another man who's been oppressed? And why they're here? We came from colonized lands. That's why we're here. So when you do try to explain that, why are you here? Why are you here? Try to explain that, people still don't want to know because they like to be ignorant. And it's not cool to be ignorant. You're making a fool of yourself.
And they like to go on their emotions, isn't it?
But it's why are you getting, you know, even when you talk about white privilege, some people get really emotional. Like, but it's like, why are you getting emotional? You're not the one who's going to get oppressed. Who's oppressed because of that? You know, you can talk about things in my own community that other people might maybe talk about. Same way, I'm in a position through shadism to talk about things that other people might not feel comfortable talking about because there will be police waiting outside for them. It's that simple, really. And it's about people being for truth.
Simple as that, isn't it?
And not selling out their own community, that they're the ones who send their own people to like Guantanamo and stuff.
Most definitely. Right, it's 9/11. We have to close the show. Any links that people can get you on?
On Twitter, Shareefa Energy. On Facebook, Shareefa Human. Yeah, because I don't know, put my sign out there. But I've got a blog, peaceandcommunity.wordpress.com.
Okay.
But and if anyone wants to ever invite me to like do a workshop or anything, I'm cool to do that.
Awesome, brilliant.
And I know a lot of other people that can be supportive because we're a good team and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So. Well, guys, if you want.
And also, one thing in Leicester, like my friend, he did during the riots, he was arrested and stuff falsely for being in the area, and he did a documentary. It's called Riots Reframed, so we will be bringing that down to Leicester.
Okay, awesome.
And I'll keep you informed of that, so you can do like an announcement. Because it's really important for people
we'll get
to
on
get
the show.
involved. Hopefully, if he comes around like that time, we can invite him, and definitely we'll do that. Do like a push, and if people come to see that and get involved in the panel discussion and get involved in the discussion, these discussions need to be happening not just in London. It needs to be happening everywhere, because everyone's involved in this.
Exactly, and that's what I was just about to say. I mean, guys who are listening. And the recording also, get involved, give us a shout. Let's get to work. Let's put these events on. Let's get the people in to say what they've got to say. Give them a platform. If you've got something to say as well, there's a platform here. The radio here is a platform also. So just give us a shout. I mean, we're open to everybody. So just come along. And I want to thank Shareefa for coming on the show this evening.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. A vibrant young lady who's a role model for many out there today, and a lot of people should really take heed of what she's saying and go back and do your own research. Don't believe anything that she says or what I say. Go and do your own research, because as I said, we're in the age of information.
Don't believe the media.
Exactly, you know what I mean? In the age of information, and the media is here to lie to you and just spew out propaganda. That's what they're designed to do. That's what they're paid to do. So, yeah. Anyways, you can catch the recording of this show on Innervibe show on YouTube. Previous recordings also on Skidan for Real. SKIDAN for the number. Real, REAL. You can also catch the radio on the website, which is, you're catching it on right now, www.S-Ence, E-N-C-E, radio, radio.co.uk. And I want to thank each and everybody for tuning in this evening, and Hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday. I'm not sure we've got on the show. We might have MC Justice in the house. Maybe not. Okay, just give me a screw face. And I'm gonna cock the microphone on his head when we're done, okay? So let's hope the microphone's not on because you're gonna hear one piece of conch. With an echo, yeah? A long echo. Okay, I want to leave you with something that I wrote. People have been put to sleep with the hypnotic act of memorizing and glamorous acts upon the big screen, glitzer magazines and newspapers. You have been hit by a smooth criminal, and that smooth criminal is the media, the capitalist system that we live under, the bankers and their armies of governments and so forth. And one last thing, it's actually a quote from the Bible. Woe unto the watchman that sees danger coming and says nothing. I'm not sure what verse in the Bible, but I know it says that in there somewhere. Basically, it means that when you know something and you don't say nothing, you know, you're just as much to blame as those who are causing problems across the globe. You know what I mean? So it's when you know something, basically say what you feel and say it with passion, say it with love, and say it with care. Yeah.
And Desmond Tutu said, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
That's right. Indeed. Awesome. Yes, thank you, Shareefa.
You're welcome.
And thank you to the technical man, MC Justice. Everybody's going to hear a conch in a minute. that was MC Justice's head. Awesome. Okay, we're going to leave it with The Rich is Spiced and Youth So Cold.
Oh na na, yeah na na na, yes, yeah. In the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, and they'll do anything to fill that gap. Lord, in the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, but they'll do anything to fill that gap. As generation comes and grows, you got to make preparation while the youth them grow. It's what you reap is what you sow. The youth them are the light and the future, so when that's them you know. If education is the key, now tell me why the big heads are making it so expensive for we. Give them the key or set them free. In the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, where they do anything to fill that gap. Boy, in the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, where they do anything to fill that gap. Oh na na na, oh mama, oh mama, na 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 na. You got to find a better way, 'cause when me look at Babylon, me see a beautiful play. I saw the Gideon say, yeah. Our nation come together, know the King's last years, the truth and the light and the way. Teach the people, lead them in the right way. 'Cause in the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, they'll do anything to fill that gap. Boy, in the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, they'll still fill that gap. Yeah. You got to show the people there's still a bright way. I know for sure the sun will come out today. Yeah. Vanities and illusion will have to fade away. Yeah. And all the wicked deeds are done, I know you got to pay. Yeah. 'Cause in the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot, They'll do anything to fill that gap. Yeah. In the streets it's getting hot, and the youth them I get so cold. Searching for food for the pot. They'll do anything to fill that gap. A generation comes and go. You got to make preparation while the youth them a grow. It's what you reap is what you sow. The youth them are the light and the future. Let them dance and you know.
There is enough food in the world for everyone. Not everyone has enough food. Every
Give them the key, set them free.